Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Surprise Jab Podcast. I'm your host, Zach Ruger, surprising you with new topics every single week and jabbing you with your daily dose of UFC, and we have a very special surprise today. We are joined by the wonderful ZEKE CLARK. ZEKE, known him for about 3 years now, avid MMA fan, currently runs track here at MNSU, also in the Army. ZEKE, welcome to the podcast.
Hey, thanks for having me on, man. I appreciate it. Love what you're doing with the podcast. It's been amazing content that I've been able to listen to, and I love MMA and
absolutely.
Yeah.
I know I've been wanting to have you on for a while. You're one of the few people who I know enjoys to talk and actually knows a thing or two about UFC. Mm-hmm. Someone that when I ask them, hey, who's your favorite fighter? I don't get, Conor McGregor.
I feel like that's so common. A lot of people you meet, they're like, I watch UFC. I'm like, you watch UFC?
Yeah. You don't actually. You're not there every single week watching it. But yeah, we got a lot of fun stuff today. Entire UFC 306 preview. We'll be dropping our official predictions for every single fight.
Awesome.
Going to be fun. Also, week 2 NFL picks. We'll try and do that quickly. I have a bunch of different questions for you, MMA related, and a new blind rank. Are you excited to get into it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Well, I wanted to kind of give the people like a bit of background about you, where your love for MMA came from, and I know you've kind of been like around the country a bit. So, do you want to tell people about that?
So I went to MSU for 2 years, and then I transferred to the University of Pittsburgh, all running track. This is all track focused. So I went and ran 2 years at MSU, then I transferred to Pitt, and then I ran there for a year. And then after I redshirted an outdoor season and came back to MSU, so here I am. And then my MMA background, like my UFC love for UFC is my best friend Finn. He's in the group chat.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, he liked UFC way back when, and he watched it a little earlier than me. But I think the first pay-per-view I watched, I think it was 229. It was like, I remember looking at the number, but it was around when the Conor card fight, and I think it was in the Nunez Cyborg fight. That was, I think, my first pay-per-view watching, or when Usman was coming up. All that was when I was first getting into it, and I really only understood, like, that's the champion, that's not the champion. That's literally all I knew, and I knew Conor, and that was it. And then slowly started getting into it, and now I watch every card, every pay-per-view, bet here and there. Yeah.
No, I always think it's funny, like when you think back to the first event you watched, you're like, I don't know what's going on, but this is awesome.
Confused. Yeah, it's great.
So what event do you do here for
So
track?
I'm a short sprinter, so I run 60, 100, 200. So those are my specialties. I'm more of a short sprinter, so like a 61. But we train to run the 2 for all the events.
How often are you guys training?
So right now we're in our 8-hour week, so the training's a little lighter. So we have like Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday's a lighter day, and then Thursday. And some days are lifting, some days are running, some days are both. But then once it gets to about a month or 2 from now, it starts to ramp up, and we turn to like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday off, and then Thursday, Friday of like running and lifting. So it starts to get a little more intense. And our first meet's in December, and then once it's January, we start going every single weekend. So
very good. Wow. So then it starts to ramp up.
Yeah. It's all over.
So when is like the outdoor season then?
So indoor technically starts like that first meet in December, and then January we come back, and so that's when we start going by every week, and then it goes through I think about the end of March, and like mid to end of March, and then outdoors about 2 weeks later, and so then that's kind of when the start of spring is, and then we then go from about end of March, beginning of April, all the way till like June. And it kind of varies based on how far you make it in the season.
Ooh, very interesting. Yeah. So would you say are some things you enjoy about being on a track team in college, and some other things where I wouldn't really want to say negative, but where you're kind of like, not my favorite?
It definitely depends on like the track team you're on. I feel like if you like the environment you're in, I feel like when I left, there's more negative things I could have said before I left, and then until I came back. Because when I came back, it's like I know what to expect coming back.
Yes.
And so it was more like I can look at the positive things, and I already know those negative things, so it's kind of like I'm just kind of accepted those things. But other than that, it's like, the people make the team. If you have a good people on the team and a good environment, it makes the team a lot funner to be on. And, this year so far, we've had that. I mean, there's, you're not going to get along with everybody. But for me, I'm just like there to do my business. I want to be professional, so I just go show up. If people are my friends, they are. If they're not, who cares?
And I know for you, super motivated, huge dreams and goals, but, when the culture is not supporting maybe not as, helping you grow, I'm sure that can kind of be a downer.
Absolutely.
But, yeah, so that's Good to know about that, the MMA background, the track background. Do you have any other fun hobbies you do? I mean, you mentioned you were in the Army. Thank you for your service.
Yeah, no,
Should I be saying that yet?
Thank you. So I joined the Army when I was at Pitt, and it was actually funny enough, I probably wouldn't be in the Army if I didn't make that move to Pitt. So, like, that entire move of Pitt was, like, such a big change in my life, and so many things mentally, physically, and, like, all the things in my life changed a lot, because when I went to Pitt, then I was like, they said they were going to be able to give me scholarship after the next semester. And so then I was like, well, I need to help paying for college. And, you know, Army can't pay for all of it because Pitt is very expensive. It's like $45K a year. Wow. It's ridiculous. Out of state is ridiculous. So I was like, well, I need at least some sort of help. So then I joined the Army because I was like, well, I'm in a criminal justice major and policing studies. So I was like, you know, it's going to really help my career anyway. So I was like, let me join the Army. It's going to help no matter what. If I decide to transfer or whatever, it'll be beneficial no matter what for me and my future family and everything like that.
I love that absolutely so much. That's absolutely crazy. I forget about the out of state tuition.
Yeah, it's like even in states like 22 grand, which is like ridiculous. But
now you, where are you from here in Minnesota?
North Minneapolis. So I grew up in North Minneapolis, and then I was born in Florida. Right, but most of my life has been in Minneapolis, and then I went to high school in Armstrong in Plymouth. So that's where I went, and yeah.
So take me through it. So Florida.
Born in Florida. I was only there for like a month, probably a month or two, and then my parents brought me to Minnesota, and then I was raised there, and then when I hit high school, my parents moved to Florida, my adoptive parents. So it's like a whole shebang. And then I went through high school, and then I hit college, 2 years at MSU, went to Pitt, back to Minnesota.
Absolutely, and that's the journey. And the reason I asked is because you're not a Minnesota Vikings fan, are you? What team are you rooting for?
Miami Dolphins. I actually have a Dolphins logo on my knee tattooed.
Really?
Seriously, yeah. So I actually didn't watch football that much. Like, I didn't watch much football growing up. It was like most sports, I just get bored. Yeah. And so it was like watching anything up to halftime. I was like, I want to leave. I want to play video games. I don't want to stay here. And then it hit freshman year when I met Slade, Max, Owen, who are big fantasy guys. And they got me drawn right into football. And then they were the first team I started being like, even when they were bad that first year, I was like, well, I love their colors. I love the team. I'm from Florida. I was like, you know, I'm going to start following them. And then that next year when Tyreek got there, it's like really gripped me. And then I just started like following them and watching like every game.
You remind me of one of my friends. He became a fan of the Warriors right before one of their things because Dolphins are looking pretty good. Yeah. And they play tonight, and I figured I have you on. Week 2 hasn't started yet. Maybe we drop our quick picks for week 2 of the NFL. So, I mean, do I even have to ask? Bills, Dolphins. Who you riding with?
Dolphins, absolutely. I think that when it comes down to it, they're going to be able to show out and I think the Bills I know it's going to be a tough game. It's going to be a really good game, but it can be either outcome, but I do think the Dolphins are going to edge it out just because of my love for them.
I like that. That's how I kind of with the Vikings, whatever they're playing. You just got to have faith
it's like no matter
they're going to win. But, I mean, did you hear Achane? He might be out.
Is he out?
Achane. I don't know if he's out. He's still questionable last time I checked.
Well, I mean, they got, Mostert is such a up and down guy. It's like he can drop 40 one week and drop nothing the next week, so it's very up and down. But with having Tyreek, it's like your opportunities are never out the door. Yeah,
and you know what? I kind of like that Dolphins pick too. I'm gonna go with them, and I'm gonna look at they played the Jaguars week 1, I believe, and
I feel like that's a good win.
That was a really good win.
A really good win.
The Jaguars are a solid team.
Absolutely.
And you look at the Bills; they almost lost the Cardinals. They had to rally there. So
yeah.
Dolphins all day, and I'll try and get you out of here so you can catch the games. We'll have to see. Then we kick off Sunday, 49ers and Vikings.
Oh, that's a hard one. That's this Sunday?
This Sunday.
I didn't know that. I knew they were talking about it, but I didn't know that this
Why would you do it this early?
I feel like I'd be doing a disservice to not say the Vikings are going to win it, and they looked super good. Yeah. So I was like, I'd like to say the Vikings. I'm going to say the Vikings as my prediction. But the 49ers, if they beat them, that'll show what the Vikings are going to be able to do this season.
I completely agree. It's like the 49ers are kind of like the Chiefs. It's whenever any team plays them, you're almost like, well, I don't really want to pick the 49ers or Chiefs, they're just too big of a favorite every time.
Yeah. And it's like, and same with, like, CMC might be out again. Who knows? He's so injury prone.
But, Jordan Mason.
Oh, my gosh.
That guy was so talented.
Yeah, I picked him up actually on waivers. And I was super happy about that.
I was going right to the waivers.
Immediately, because CMC is so fragile.
Which sucks because were you number one pick in any of your fantasy leagues?
No, I was 7th in one, and I got CD in 7th. Yeah.
What league are you in?
That's the one with Slade in them.
Oh, my God.
The first one was with Slade is in both, but one's with track people, and then the other one is with like some of the Monticello people and like some other Cato people. And though that league I was last pick, and I think I got like 2 back-to-back picks. And I don't remember what I got in that one, but my team dropped 140 for the first week.
That's pretty damn good.
It was good.
I'll tell you that. Yeah, I got Saquon at 7.
Oh, you did? That's not bad.
Actually, no, I think I got him at 10, actually.
10?
Or something like that, yeah.
Wow.
Because everyone's like, oh, will he be as good?
Nah, I would have taken that easily.
We'll have to see. But next up, Seahawks and Patriots. Interesting teams.
Patriots.
Seahawks
looked like shit.
Really?
Really bad.
They almost lost to the Broncos, actually.
Yeah, I mean, they won, but like, I just remember watching it, and we were all like sitting on the couch, like, all right, this is the get food break. We were like, this game, they're playing horrible.
Well, we're going to get to the Bengals in a second, but the fact the Patriots beat the Bengals week 1, that was absolutely ridiculous.
Everyone's talking about the Bengals are going to be the next big Burrow. And, yeah. No.
I'm gonna ride with you this week. I'm gonna see who you pick, and those will be my predictions. Because I'm in a little league with some people I know. We do $5 whoever wins each week.
Oh, really?
They each get $5. Giants, Commanders.
Ooh.
I know Jaden Daniels looked good for the Commanders.
Didn't the Vikings just play the Giants?
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to go to Washington Commanders because I think that they're both not great teams, but the Commanders look better, and the players on the Commanders look better than the Giants.
Yeah, I saw the Giants fans were booing Daniel Jones.
Really? Giants. Daniel Jones was horrific. It was. Yeah. It was hard to watch, and everyone's sitting there like, how is he on that team still? And how is he? It's
I just have to imagine, as an athlete yourself, how would you feel? You know, you're at your home stadium, home meet, let's say you're running track, and you're not doing well, and your own fans start booing you. What's going through your head?
I honestly would be like, obviously he has to tune it out, but I would be thinking like, man, I must be doing something wrong, or I just have that many people that those haters are just all out there. But I would just have to think that I'm just doing something wrong.
I'm glad it's not the Dolphins for you and Vikings
absolutely.
for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Chargers and Panthers, two very interesting teams.
Chargers.
Alrighty.
Panthers are not. I actually am starting the wide receiver for the Chargers over Pickens because the matchup.
You're going with Lad McConkey? You pick him up?
Yep. Yeah. I'm starting him over Pickens because Pickens is playing. The Steelers are playing. I don't remember who they're playing, but their matchup is a lot harder than the Chargers.
Yeah, we'll see them somewhere. I know. Broncos. They're playing the Broncos.
Yeah, that's a lot easier of a matchup.
But yeah, I completely agree. Panthers, Bryce Young, number 1 pick last year. And,
Bryce Young, and they're still struggling.
I feel like bad. Like he's still playing bad. And I'm like, oh, man.
The team is struggling.
Oh, man. Here's a fun one. Saints at the Cowboys. Both teams looked pretty good week 1.
I'm going to go with the Cowboys. I'm going to ride the hype. I feel like it was Dak's new his new extension, he's going to have to show out.
Yeah.
So.
Plus the Saints blew out the Panthers. We've gone something
it's like, what did that really prove?
And how about the fact that Jerry Jones was holding off on paying CD for the longest time? That was ridiculous to me.
That was ridiculous. Yeah, I don't know what was going on with that whole. That's why when I grabbed him at 7th round, I was like, I know he's going to get signed. I'm assuming the Cowboys, but like, come on now.
Yeah, and then you had Brandon Cooks actually being the top wide receiver. Like, it just shows how good that Cowboys team is. Except for you got Ezekiel Elliott and Dalvin Cook as your backfield.
I don't understand. That dude's like old. He's old. He's old.
He's wearing such a funny jersey.
Yeah.
Alrighty, Colts, Packers.
100%.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no, Colts are actually looking good, but I'm still going to go Packers.
Okay, I'm a Packers hater because, Vikings fan.
Yeah, absolutely.
But, I mean, Jordan Love, he's going to be out.
Yeah. Oh, is he going to be out?
Yeah.
Okay, Colts, never mind.
We're going Colts. We're going Colts.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Malik Willis will actually be starting.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think, I can't remember who he was on. Might have been on Tennessee in college.
Okay.
Way behind on that. Browns, Jaguars, your next matchup?
I want to go with the Jags. I think even though they lost, they played really well that first half. Like they had me thinking the Dolphins are done, and then they just happened to make more errors in the second.
Yeah.
So.
And Deshaun Watson, did you hear there's another woman accusing him?
I saw that, and I'm like, dude, like the nicknames are getting out of hand for him. It's ridiculous. I'm like, yeah, so many problems.
That's your highest paid quarterback of all time, I think, in the contract.
That's ridiculous for how much trouble he's made.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I agree with the Jaguars. They're pretty loaded. And hey, they gave your Dolphins a run for their money.
Yeah.
We'll have to see. Aaron Rodgers, Jets taking on Will Levis and the Titans.
How the Jets looked. Well, they were playing against, the 49ers?
Yeah, they play against 49ers.
So it's hard to look good against the 49ers.
Yeah.
I kind of want to go with the Jets because I feel like they literally were against one of the best defenses in the league. So it's like, it's hard to look good against a team like that. So it's like, I want to give them the benefit of the doubt and hope that they look better. Because they have Garrett Wilson, they have Aaron Rodgers. That should already be amazing.
A fun fact, Alan Lazard is actually the number 3 fantasy wide receiver right now, thanks to...
I saw that for that one game.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh. And he's on everybody's waivers. Because who's going to pick him up?
Yeah, but I also wonder, I look at, we'll talk about the Lions in a second, how Jamison Williams had way more points than Amon-Ra. Well, we know Amon-Ra is way better.
We know that's not going to stick. Yeah.
Did you watch Receiver on Netflix at all?
Yes, I watched quarterback and receiver.
Yeah, that made me a fan of Amon-Ra. His work ethic is incredible.
It made me a fan of literally every wide receiver I saw on that show.
Jefferson, I love that he all his cabinets were filled with junk food and snacks.
And he's here's the stash, and there's a bucket of just all sorts of candy and all this stuff.
And he lived in a normal townhome. Just imagine your next door neighbors. Justin
Jefferson is crazy.
Oh, that'd be so awesome. Speaking of the Lions, Buccaneers take on Lions rematch from the playoffs last year.
I'd say Lions. Lions, definitely. The Lions,
I like that.
They have a really good team this year. Happy for Slade because he's a diehard Lions fan. But
you know what? He's probably the closest out of all of us to a Super Bowl with how good that Lions team
out of all of our favorite teams.
Yeah.
Oh, I agree.
I don't
Lions
know.
look good.
My team, we probably won't make the playoffs.
Yep.
Tua's Scholar to lock it in the playoffs.
Yeah, basically. It sucks though because especially fantasy wise, Gibbs and Montgomery, you have one or the other, and they always one drops a bunch and then the other doesn't get much, or it's it's not even each time, so it's really hard to have both. Last year, fortunately enough, I had both, and I just started both.
Yeah.
But then this year I have Gibbs, but it's 1 week he'll do mid, and the next week he'll do great.
Yeah, so stuff that shows how good their running back room is, but fantasy-wise, it's tough every week.
Yeah, it's very tough, yeah.
Yeah, completely agree. Raiders visiting the Ravens.
All Ravens.
All day.
Of course. Devontae's in prison right now.
I feel so bad for him.
I watched receiver, and then I watched live them playing, and I'm like, I can't watch this.
It's I could picture what he's saying. It's the same stuff as last season.
Yep.
Just watching how much Aaron Rodgers elevated him and how much Jimmy Garoppolo, Aiden O'Connell, Gardner Minshew bring him down.
It's just ridiculous.
Yeah, but how about Derrick Henry? Do you think he's going to be making any impact this season?
Last year I had him, and then early on he was doing really good. Yeah. And then at the end, it was week after week after week, he just kept dropping and dropping. So I am on this. He has a bitter taste in my mouth. So I'm more I think it's only going to hold off so much. Yeah. But I think he's getting older. Those bigger guys, they start to slow down.
That's a great point.
So even Najee, look at him 2-3 years ago. He was untouchable, top 5 in the league, and then now he's unnoticeable on the Steelers.
Yeah, he's only year 5 or 6, I think.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
Great point. Yeah, those are guys that they just bang right up the middle every time. And dude, that'll wear on you. A little divisional matchup here. Rams visiting the Cardinals.
Rams. Rams look good. They look really good.
Puka's out, but Cooper Kupp back to his prime form.
Yeah, which the odds of that were ridiculous because so many people were like, oh no, it's Cooper Kupp season again. And then people were like, no, Nakua looks so good. And then unfortunately enough, for some people, there goes Nakua, and then now comes Kupp, and it's now people can be like, I told you, but it's circumstantial.
Which is, also I was going to say, Marvin Harrison Jr., did you have anyone in your leagues drafting him high?
I have him in my bench in one, and I got him fifth, sixth round. Like, it was nothing crazy.
Yeah.
And then a different league, I don't have him, but I think someone might have grabbed him like fourth, fifth, a little early, but not showing.
Because for being like the best wide receiver, Kyler threw him, I think, one ball.
One target.
Oh my God.
I'm like, yeah, sometimes the hype around some players can really get shot.
That is such a great point, because I know we're gonna get to it in 3 matchups about Caleb Williams. We're almost there. All right, Bengals, Chiefs. Thoughts? Yeah.
I know in quarterback they had said that it was like Burrow was like Mahomes' daddy because he was like 3-0 against them, and then they only beat him when they went on to win the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
But this year it's just the Chiefs look good. But the refs when the Chiefs are playing is like ridiculous.
I was about to say that when they kept calling, I think it was Stanley or someone, the offensive lineman for the Ravens in that home opener. It was like every play.
Yes, and the thing that was weird was I was listening to Slate because they obviously know a little bit more about formations, positions than I do, but they were saying like they've never called that before. And it's like, oh, well, now that the Ravens are against the Chiefs, now it's a big issue. And the amount of like videos and Instagram reels I see of like Chiefs players holding, and it's like the most blatant.
Yeah, they don't even call it.
Never call it.
Yeah. Thoughts on Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce?
Oh gosh, I'm happy Taylor Swift is a little more content.
Okay.
I'm happy she's not like it's not one guy after the next and like who is next, but you know, a little too much airtime.
Yep.
You know, let's watch some football.
I saw some where it's like odds of like 3.5 times she's shown throughout a game. Like you can bet on that on
like Super Bowl was like how many like Taylor Swift times over under, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's ridiculous.
But yeah, Chiefs over Bengals. Poor Joe. I'm not even say poor Joe Burrow. I just don't understand how they keep doing that.
I don't. And Jamar Chase, he just complains. He's a diva.
Yeah, he's like, oh, I'm gonna be better than Justin Jefferson this year.
He's like Diggs. Nothing. He's like Diggs. He just makes a deal out of everything.
That's a great point. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Steelers, Broncos.
Steelers.
Yep.
100%.
I agree. Bo Nix just did not look too good on the Broncos.
No.
Hey, Justin Fields, what do you know? He got to win.
Absolutely.
Now, do you get touchdown? No, the kicker. Six field goals.
Yeah.
6 field goals.
That's crazy.
Pick them up.
Crazy.
Speaking of Diggs, the Bears visiting the Texans. Like I said, Caleb Williams.
Texans, easily.
Yep.
The Bears did not. I'm telling you, Bears are on my no draft list. I won't draft a single one of them. Maybe I'll pick it up, but I just remember, I think freshman year, it was like Herbert was on the waivers at one point, and then he was just not doing it for me. I had Montgomery, he was not doing it for me. I picked up other players at certain points, and just every Bears player for me is just never. So there's all that entire roster is just, nope, I'm good.
Oh my gosh, it's so crazy because Caleb Williams 93 yards week 1. That is, you just don't throw under 100 in the NFL.
It just doesn't happen.
And their defense carried them that whole game. I'm with
couldn't
you.
Produce.
Not at all. All right, then we get to the final matchup of week 2. Falcons, Eagles.
Eagles. Like,
I'm with you.
You can't. Like, that team they should go to the Super Bowl. They should, hypothetically.
Their collapse last season was crazy.
They have Swift, they have A.J. Brown, they have Hurts. Like, it's like they have everything in their hot pockets to win, and they just had the biggest. They had like 0-7.
Yeah.
It was ridiculous.
It didn't make sense. And the Falcons, Kirk Cousins, I kind of knew he wasn't going to be that good coming off almost a career-ending injury.
I should have taken a bet. There was a guy in the pool with me one time before school started. He was like, I'll bet you $100. I don't know if it was some guy I met. And he was like, I'll bet you $100 that Kirk Cousins will be top 10 in the league. But no, he said he'll be top 5 in the league by the end of the season. I swear, I was like, yeah.
I should have shook
on it, but I was like, I don't know. But I definitely should have.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I had another one of my friends on, someone I've had on multiple times, and his Super Bowl prediction was that the Falcons make the Super Bowl.
This year?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, not happening.
I didn't buy into the hype, but yeah, Eagles taking it home. Exciting stuff. And you know what? Being a Dolphins fan, pretty good.
Absolutely.
Pretty good. Say, when you were at Pitt, did you run into a lot of Steelers fans on campus?
I did. It was when you go to the Pitt, the Pitt and Steelers share the same stadium, as you might know.
I did not know that.
You didn't know that? So they share the same. I didn't know that before I got there.
Yeah.
And then when I got there, they're like, yeah, it's the same stadium. And I was like, really? And I was like, that is interesting.
Huh.
Wait, no, or it's they train there or it's something weird like that. I'm pretty sure they play there because they do, because when we're a student athlete, you pass through all of the accolades, the trophies, like everything. Like it's like you're in the Steelers stadium.
Yeah.
And so and then you just walk out and then it's pit everything. So
that's so cool.
Yeah, really cool.
I didn't think about that. Then you come here and our stadium looks like a high school stadium for the Mavericks.
Yep. It's great.
That's what it is. But fun times in football. Let's get into a little UFC. Kind of wanted your thoughts on some things. So at the start of the year, we made some predictions on here. And I predicted who would be champion by the end of the year in every weight class. And I predicted who would have the biggest rise and biggest fall off. So I kind of want to get your thoughts on some things, a couple of the divisions, and then I'm going to hit you with a little blind rank of something, which is pretty fun. Do you know how blind ranks work?
Isn't that where you like given players and you just have to like
you
rank
put it
them?
1 through 10?
Yep,
absolutely. So I said that Alexander Pantoja would still be champion by end of the year. Okay. Do you see anyone in the flyweight division beating him?
No, I think he'll stay. I think he'll stay. I mean, there's like that Tatsuro Taira. I just don't. I feel like, there's a hype behind him a little bit, but I just don't see him being the one to beat him. He doesn't have a ground game, I don't think. And if he does, it's just Pantoja just has a gas tank and he just is everywhere. He's everywhere and always in your face.
That's what I was saying. Did you see his fight with Steve Erceg?
I didn't actually. I saw like the highlights. I didn't watch the full fight though.
That's what happened to me, is I was busy for that. Plus, it wasn't the biggest main event.
Yeah. Oh, that was the Brazil one. Yeah.
And I heard people saying it was a robbery, so I didn't know.
And then I saw him fight. Erceg fought the next fight against
Kaikara Frauds.
Yeah, and then he got starched. So I'm like, well, there goes that.
Yeah. He reminded me of a Dominic Reyes. Dominic, people thought he beat John Jones.
And then, nope.
Knockout.
Yep, exactly. So kind of the same type of thing.
Bantamweight division. Actually, I'll save this. I was going to say Sean O'Malley, but we're going to talk about him later.
Oh, boy.
I said Umar Nurmagomedov would have the biggest rise of the year.
Okay.
And lo and behold, number 2 guy.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on him? Another Dagestani.
Another Dagestani makes the division. I think money-wise for the UFC, it's great. They're kind of doing the same thing where they're like trying to like push him. Because, I mean, he was fighting nobodies and then boom, Corey. And then it was like, I don't know how Corey decided to make that fight. But I respect him for it, but it's like, dude, like, you got to respect yourself a little bit.
Yeah.
But I think he's dangerous. But the weird decision he had against a non-ranked guy, I was kind of made me be like, so are you real? Like, are you actually going to be a good? So I think he's a little overhyped. I think people are going to always just throw you in the pedestal of you're going to be the next Khabib. But I think he has a lot more holes than Khabib. Because Khabib is like one in a, he's not just someone you can just be like, oh, well, he has the same last name. He'll be the same. Yeah.
Khabib, I mean, people argue like he never lost a round in the UFC. Yeah. And then Umar, that unranked guy you were talking about, he dropped him in the opening seconds of their fight.
I'm like, I feel like I need to see him fight another ranked top 5 guy to really show like, I am that guy.
Absolutely love that. Lightweight division, I said Islam Makhachev would still be champ.
There's nobody going to beat him.
No one's
it's like
beating
that
him.
Top 5 guys just keep going in circles, and then he's just champ.
Now, I'll tell you, my biggest rise, I said Benoit Saint-Denis, and biggest fall off, I said Dustin Poirier. So imagine my surprise when Poirier knocked him out.
Poirier knocks him out, and then he fights for the title again.
Which, that was one of my favorite fights.
Oh, that was a really good fight. And I was like, you could see that Dustin had an amazing camp for that fight. Just couldn't get the job done.
No, that just spoke to Islam's abilities because, I mean, a round 5 finish is so rare in MMA, and to do it at a championship fight. Yeah.
And he's just way better of a boxer than Khabib was. Yeah. And he's able to stand with Dustin. I'm like, if Khabib's standing with Dustin, he's going to get cracked. Yeah. So it was crazy.
Pretty crazy. I don't even know who could beat Islam.
I don't either. I only could see him losing if he was not in the. It went up.
But he's not going up now that Bilal's up there.
Now that Bilal's there, yep.
Now, I said champion Shafkar Rakhmonov.
By the end of this year?
I said this year.
Well, they might even fight.
Might be at the buzzer.
It might be because I've been hearing some rumors about December they're trying to get to, or January or something about. But then now it's just debating between Usman and Shavkat. Yeah. I don't hate that pick at all. I think Shavkat will beat Bilal. I think he's just a better fighter, but I think it will be closer than people think. I
Yeah.
think people will think he'll finish. I think it'll go decision.
Did you see the Leon and Ball
Well,
fight?
I did. Oh gosh, well, Leon looked just not like.
I was like, dude,
what happened?
how are you champion?
I was like, what happened? I was like, I didn't think it was gonna be a steamroll, but I thought it was just gonna be a point fest of Leon just punch bag out of, and then I was like, what is happening? Threw him on his head, and I was like,
I was like,
what the? And then Bilal's champ, and I was like, yeah. I mean, hey, honestly, not surprised at this point.
No, and I should have noticed, like, because Bilal, it's like, he's not hateable, but he's so boring.
Oh my gosh. Decision after decision. I think his decision rate is 75% or something.
Oh no, I looked it up. He's 24-3 with 6 finishes. That's insane.
That's including amateurs. And
Yeah,
that's ridiculous.
Unreal. My biggest fall off, I said Colby.
Oh yeah.
I think even though he hasn't fought, he's fallen off.
I like Colby a lot, but it's just he fought. He looked horrible. Then he goes to say, I took no damage, I'm going to be back in the ring right away, and then it's been 7 months.
Yeah.
And I'm like, where you at?
No, and after his fight, I was like, I picked him to beat Leon, because I was like, I'm a loyal Colby fan.
Absolutely.
Afterwards, he's like, you all suck, you're all broke bitches, I made more money than all you. I was like, well, wait a second, I was rooting for you.
Yeah, literally. I was like, and then now on his Instagram, he has no more hot chicks anymore.
Oh,
I'm like, where's your money at? What's going on?
He was on freaking, Vitali that does his predator catching?
Oh, really?
Colby went on that.
Oh,
I saw a clip of that.
Wow.
He's doing the Nelk Boys podcast now.
And honestly, I think Colby sticking to his whole I don't want to be a weight bully is the detriment to him. I think if he just cut down to 155, he could be really good.
Yeah.
But he decides to because he says he walks around at 175, because he fights at welterweight, yeah, right?
170, yes.
Yeah. So he said he walks around 180, Dustin says he walks around 185, 190. So I'm like, you are walking on naturally at 185, 190, and you could easily make he doesn't look like a big welterweight.
No, he could go lightweight, and I give him a good chance there.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm interested for your thoughts on this. I predicted Dricus du Plessis would still be champion, and it's one of my favorite picks I made. What were your thoughts when he beat Adesanya?
I honestly was in terms of being a non-biased opinion, I thought it could go either way.
Yeah.
But obviously I wanted Izzy to win. But I was like, if Dricus can mix it up, I can see him. I did not think it was going to be Izzy's going to come in and wipe the fourth. But I was like, he looks more locked in than he did against Sean Strickland. So I was like, I think he will. It'll be a close fight, but I wanted Izzy to win.
I did, and I don't blame you. I love when you have a favorite fighter, and they start fighting. You just feel your gut, come on, man, get it done.
Yeah, and I felt honestly, I'm just going to say this hindsight, but I did feel in my gut when Izzy was gonna leading up to that fight, I thought he was gonna lose. In my head, I was like, he just doesn't seem mentally there.
No.
And then he went in there and lost. I was like, looked what was gonna happen. So
I'm all for guys showing their emotions, mental health and stuff. But before a professional championship fight, be crying at a press conference, that's just Dricus mentally won.
That's just getting on your knees and being like, yeah, I lost.
Yeah,
I was
in shock.
Oh god, he cried. I was like, man, you just told him you won.
Yeah.
So
it's absolutely ridiculous. Do you have any idea what you think might be next for Izzy? It's pretty tough.
Honestly, I don't see. The fight was funny enough. The judges were giving it to him going into that fourth.
Really?
Which I think I had it either even or maybe a 3-1, a 3-1 to Izzy. I mean, a
2-1, yeah.
2-1 to Izzy. But it was way too close for people to be going oh yeah, Izzy's easily winning this fight right now. But he definitely was heading towards a decisive, a decision win.
Yeah.
But I was him losing this, I'm he's 2-3, and his last 3 fights have all been title challenge fights or fighting with the belt. So I'm you getting another title shot would take at least 2 wins, and he's 37 or 4.
He's up there, man.
And so I'm honestly, at this point, I'd say either, he could take the path if he has the mental capacity to do so. If not, I'd just say retire and do a fun fight and then retire.
And it's just interesting to see him. And the man I said would have the biggest fall off, Robert Whittaker. Talk about proving me wrong every year. I think that's done.
His comeback has been ridiculous.
It just reminds me of Volkanovski and Holloway, how, Volk beats Max every time, Izzy beats Whittaker every time. Now look at where both those guys are at.
Yeah, which
eerily similar.
crazy, and they're on the same like fight camp group, whatever. So it's like that. It's crazy because I'm like, I think I predicted against Rob like every time until this last fight. I was like, okay, so now Rob is apparently back.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I don't know how. He's like 34, 30. I don't even know.
He's up there or something.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can check here. I don't know, but he's up there in age.
He's up there.
Actually, he reminds me of Max, where he might actually only be early 30s, I think.
Actually, I think you're right. He might be 32, 33.
Something like
it's just
that.
he was a champ young.
Yeah.
So it's like, I could see him getting the belt back just based on how he's fighting, especially if he beats Kamzat. So.
Yeah, which, we might have to have you back for UFC 308.
Absolutely.
It is so
such
loaded.
a good card.
Incredible. I mean, the fact that you have Shogun Alexander Volkov, you got Magomedov Ankalaev, Alexander Rakic. Yep. I mean, Max Holloway and Topira, that's actually happening.
Yep. And you got Robert and
Hamza.
Yeah. Like I think that card should have been how stacked the Sphere should have been.
I agree.
Because the Sphere is, I'm like, oh, it's good, but I'm like, it's not like 300 or it's not 308 worthy.
No, we're gonna save our thoughts for the Sphere because there's just so much to talk about with that. But final one, I'll go right here. Actually, I'll go two. I said Magomedov Ankalaev would be the light heavyweight champion because I just think the only way to beat Pereira was through grappling, and so far he is definitely not getting a shot in. I mean, Pereira's he's fighter of the year.
Yeah.
Especially if he beats Khalil.
I mean, apparently to Alex, he made that video saying that they offered, like, Ankalaev to turn down his, saying he wants to fight him. So, and then I watched DC say that, like, Ankalaev has grappling, but it's not like Khabib and them level grappling.
Yep.
It's grappling.
I saw that too.
Yeah, it's not like high level, but I mean, anything of above subpar grappling is going to do great against Alex. But it's more about getting that fight, and I honestly could not tell you who's going to win that fight. No.
But Pereira, Khalil, any thoughts on that?
It's like, part of me wants to say it's like a Sean Strickland situation where, like, he could just go out there and win, and we're all just going to be like, what? So I'm like kind of like anticipating, but I'm also like, let's be real, like, it's going to be a stand-up, but Khalil does throw bombs, though.
That's what I'm saying. So that might be the best chance to beat Pereira.
I do think, because I feel like the other guys he has fought just have zero, equation. Like, they can't even equate to Pereira in terms of power. And Khalil's the closest to that, I will say. So that's why the only part of me thinks, like, maybe he could get a knockout on Alex, just because of the fact that they share almost or around the same amount of power. So, and then that would segue a move up to heavyweight easily. Like, you lost at lightweight, you lost at middleweight, go back up, go all the way up.
It should be a crazy trajectory. Every time he gets knocked out, he just moves up, wins the belt.
Yeah.
But speaking of heavyweights, I said John Jones would still be champion. I guess I'm going to be right without him even.
You're going to be right without
him fighting.
Yeah, that's... I can see both sides 100%, but it's like, I just think he needs to put his ego to the side and be like, the champ has to fight the interim champ. That's just how it works. So you can't just not fight and be like, well, I'm the GOAT, so I'm going to fight Stipe. It's like, well, yeah, you can do that, but just leave the belt. But he's just like, I ran this sport, and then like, we get that. We know that, John. Yeah. But you're just tarnishing your own legacy by doing what you're doing now.
Yeah, I mean, Cyril Gane the interim belt. He is then slated to fight Francis Ngannou.
Yep.
Brandon Moreno wins the interim belt. He fights Cesar Figueiredo. Tom Aspinall wins it. Oh, you have to defend against Curtis Blades.
Yep. Yeah, and then when Francis got the belt, I think it was 8 months that he was like out for, and they had the interim champ, and then John, they stripped him. They stripped him.
They stripped him, yeah.
And then John, it's been how long, and he's not been even talked about stripping, which that obviously will not happen.
No.
Nope.
No. And by the way, Stipe currently ranked 8th in the rankings. By the way, he does not hold a win. Actually, scratch that. He has not fought in someone actively on the roster right now.
I saw that stat, which is ridiculous. And his last win was like 5 years ago.
2020 against Daniel Cormier, who he fought for 3 years. Oh my god.
And Daniel Cormier has been like long retired.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, I think honestly, Stipe could do the entire UFC a favor if he retires. I think he could save everybody by if Stipe said, you know what, I'm retiring, John, do as you please. I think John would be like, well, shoot. Then he would be like, what do I do?
And man, if Tom Aspinall and John Jones fight, I know how good John is, but Tom Aspinall has finished his last 3 opponents in a minute by knockout.
I think, honestly, it's hard to say. I want to just say Tom would win just because I think he hasn't fought someone that hungry before for a title, and when you're hungry, you're dangerous. And also, like Cyril, I thought Gon was like, he respected him too much. Like he was like, and he had no ground game. He was like he like saw John and was just, I think he just looked at him and said, oh, you're the GOAT. I'm gonna lose. And so, but I feel like Tom is like, I want to fight you. Like, I need to fight you. And that's like it. And so I think he's ready for it. I think he could match John on the ground. I think he could beat him standing up. So I would think Tom would be able to win it.
Absolutely. And that kind of brings me into another little segment, little question I wanted to pose. So we know the next pay-per-views for, of course, 306, October 307, and 308. We don't know November and December.
Yes.
So what I kind of wanted to ask you, and for us to kind of theorize, is what's going to be the main events for UFC 309, 310? We can kind of do process of elimination here, because, I mean, O'Malley's not going to fight again.
Nope.
Talpira's booked.
Yep.
I heard Islam might be out till January.
Yep, they were talking about how Armin is ready, but then Islam has like an injury or whatever.
Yeah.
So it's like, I think that's going to be pushed to early next year.
You know, Driscus, he's already fought twice. I don't think so. Pereira's fighting again. So it kind of leaves us with the heavyweight division and the welterweight division.
Yeah. So I think that John fighting Stipe, which is it's not booked, right? It's just been still. Which that makes, for me, if it's not booked and they constantly keep saying like it's me and John are gonna be, like me and Stipe are gonna fight, that just means there's something going on that's holding that fight back, or it's maybe the debate of like what's happening with Tom. I know Tom Aspinall will be willing to fight in December, so it's like I think there's something going on between them three that's like they're trying to negotiate.
Yeah, and why do I have the feeling Tom Aspinall, interim champ, backup fighter, weighs in, Stipe pulls out or something, and John Jones has to fight him.
That's a
storybook.
I feel like that's gonna happen. For some reason, I've had that in my head. Like I feel like that'll happen. And it was that video I sent in the chat that was like, it was like, John had his phone, and it was like me if John Dana calls me about fighting Aspinall, and it was like, and then he like tossed his phone in the pool, and he was like, and I was like, it was like, no, it said like Dana said, oh yeah, Stipe pulls out, and he was like, yeah, nope, I'm good, I'm not fighting. So
Aspinall lives rent free in Jones. Did you see the BBC thing he said?
Yes,
He's like,
I did.
Aspinall's walking around with my big cock in his mouth. I was like, he actually tweeted this. This isn't a meme.
Yeah, he's like, and the thing is the one thing that Tom is learning that I've seen from DC and Chael's pound for good guy, bad guy, is I've seen that they said that John just does not take anything personal. Like, if you say something about him and it's not true, John can't take it. Like, Chael said the one thing that made John immediately start, like, responding to Chael, which got him to fight, was he literally said, like, I took candy from him like he was a baby. It was the dumbest quote ever, and, like, what he said was just obviously not true. And then John immediately tweeted, he did not do nothing, and then boom, he got his attention, got his fight. Boom, there you go.
Yeah.
So it's like,
or you think about that DC when he's saying like,
DC and John. I was talking about, Chael and Silva, I think, or John fought John. John fought
might have been the Chael and John did fight, so I think that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, because I know he was going between middleweight and light heavyweight. Yeah.
But the one I'm thinking of is when DC was saying like, oh, you're probably on coke right now, and he didn't react, and then he said, like, oh, I'm gonna come over there and spit in your mouth, spit in your face or something.
Oh, yeah.
And John Jones like, if you come spit in my face, I will kill you.
Yep. If you just say anything personal, he just loses it. Yeah.
Utterly insane. So Jones, Stipe, maybe Aspinall steps in. That's probably looking like
someone is
November.
saying McGregor was getting mad that he was like, apparently he wanted December, and then when Dana's made an announcement saying that he'd fight early next year, then Conor started blowing up Dana's DMs saying, early next year, I want to fight this year. What are you talking about? And so, but for me, until Conor's in the octagon, I don't believe that man's going to fight.
That's what I thought. My 100th episode of this podcast, I perfectly aligned to be my prediction show for UFC 303. So I could talk about McGregor. And he pulls out. He annoys me so much.
I just want to see him fight and just see how he looks, so I can gauge what would be next.
Yeah.
Because if he fights, I can be like, okay, he is not even close to championship. Like, just take fun fights. We're not even going to talk about a title for you. But it's like, it's still, they bounce around every idea. They talk about him fighting for the BMF, the 155, the 170, making a 165 division and making him and Chandler fight for it. Like, I'm like, they're doing everything to get him to fight for a title. And I'm like, man. But I mean, if he beats Chandler, that is a ranked lightweight. So I'm like, you know, if you can just get the fight and get the weight. But I think it's kind of unfair for them to fight at 170 and then he gets a title shot at 155.
Yep.
I just think it doesn't make sense.
And they'll so do it, too. They just, if you can get him a win, they'll do it.
They will. I mean, he fought Cowboy and got Khabib, so.
Yeah. No, that was they gave him Dustin. They were gonna give him the shot that Dustin was like, how about we fight? And, man, that's another great point is, you know, the Khabib fight. That was McGregor's first comeback. Oh, he's fighting Cowboy, another comeback. Oh, he's fighting Dustin, another comeback. Dustin, another comeback. How many comebacks can he have?
It's gonna be one of those like Floyd Mayweather things where it's gonna be like, he's just 45 and we're just like, oh, and he's fighting again.
Yeah.
You know, but I think he's gonna hit an age where he's gonna stop fighting the octagon. It's just gonna be more like boxing or bare knuckle or random organizations where we're all like, oh, there goes Conor again.
Yeah.
Because at this point, it's like he's everywhere.
Yeah. It's tragic. He probably won't be fighting on UFC 310.
Nope.
There's no
sadly.
way.
I mean, I would hope, but you know, at this point, you know, I mean, did you see that the whole Oliveira, Connor and Chandler said like there's exciting news coming soon, but they like won't. They haven't said it yet, so it's like I don't know who they're all fighting and what's going on with that. Because Jorge came back. Yeah.
Somebody mentioned that Oliveira might fight Colby at welterweight. Yeah, that was like a serious thing I saw.
Oh gosh, no! Why? Oh my
so
gosh,
random.
no! Charles should stay at lightweight.
Yeah. But anyways, do we think Bilal Shavkat then for December?
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense. And you know, if Bilal does it, I would have respect for. That's the one thing I do have for Bilal. I mean, he won the belt from Leon, and like he was already talking about, can we get a fight for December? And I'm like, most champs that win that first belt, and they're like, let me go travel the world and never fight for a year. And I'm like, you know, do your job. Fight, get the belt, and show that you earned it, and you're going to keep earning it. Like, not take it and go on a
great point.
Trip. Yeah,
I love that. And also, I know Dana, whenever there's a fighter he doesn't like as champion, he wants him to defend as quickly as possible.
I mean, I will tell you that. I mean, I don't know if you already know, my favorite fighter is Aljamain Sterling, which is not a popular favorite fighter, but I think it's just from watching his podcast, just hearing his inside thoughts on everything just made me just like him as a person. Yeah. And then just kind of just threw in like the liking him as a fighter. And it's the thing with him. I mean, he fought once and then like they were asking for him to fight Sean like 4 months later. And he was like, hello? Yeah. Like, and then there he goes, Francis Ngannou. Like, it's obvious, but Dana doesn't like to admit that.
I always like to point out how bad I feel for Aljamain Sterling, where he won the belt under bad circumstances. He wins a close decision. Everyone says he's robbed. He fights TJ Dillashaw. It's not his fault that TJ pops his shoulder and then fights Cejudo. Another decision people are arguing, which I did not. Personally, I watched that fight. I did not think Cejudo won that.
No, I didn't either.
And then Sean, 3 months, I think, after the Cejudo fight.
Was like, yeah, you need to fight Sean. And he was like, And then at that point, he should even have been at bantamweight at that point because his weight is ridiculous. And when he beat, I mean, the thing is that he asks everyone on his podcast is like, who would have done anything different? I don't think anybody would have been like, no, I don't want the belt. I will admit, when he did win it, it was like a while where I was like, okay, he's doing well. Like, he's not flaunting it. He's not making a big deal. But then there was like a month where he started like posting like champion, and I was like, no, stop, don't do that. Because then it just kind of takes away everything you did at the end of the fight.
No, I talked about this in my last episode. This is the current bout order for UFC 307. They got them as the featured prelim.
Who?
Sterling and Mozafar.
Oh, prelim?
Featured prelim. So they got Dolidze and Holland as the featured prelim. Mozafar and Aljamain is the second to last prelim.
Oh my god!
And I saw that, and I was like, they have to change this.
That is disrespectful.
It does. That's like essentially the number one contender fight in the division, almost.
Oh, absolutely, because Mazhar Evelaev is like said to be another like Russian-esque fighter.
Yeah. He's 18 now.
Yup, and people are saying like he's the next guy. knowing how the UFC works, I think honestly, even if Aljo goes and submits this guy, I don't think they give him a title shot. I just feel like I know how Dana likes Aljo and like how their relationship is, and I feel like I know how the community likes Aljo, and I think that they'd make him fight another person. When if like Umar want to fight against someone like that, they'd be like title shot.
Yep.
So,
but I don't know. They really should change that because why is Kayla Harrison and Ketlin Vieira on the main card of UFC 307?
That's like when Bo Nickel was on the main card over like
every time Bo
he was on 300. He was over Cody and Figueiredo were in the prelims, and like all these people were way below him. I'm like Bo Nickel versus what, Cody Brundage? I was like, yeah, okay. The
fact that I watched Jiri Prochazka beat Rakic for the title shot, and then I watched Bo Nickel.
I'm like, something's not right.
It was ridiculous, but 309, 310, they should be loads of fun. Well, Zeke, I do this fun thing on every time we have a guest. I gotta do a blind rank, and for once, I have someone that knows UFC fighters.
Oh yeah, do most people not?
So no, not at all. So I'm gonna hit you with a blind rank of 10 fighters.
Okay.
Number 1, your favorite. Number 10, I could do without.
Okay, just in terms of my favorite fighter.
Personal favoritism.
Okay.
Personal favoritism, all right? First one I'm going to hit you with. Ian Gary. Ian Machado Gary.
Oh, boy.
Currently ranked number 7th. Welterweight
I
division.
actually like him more than most people do. My liking for him has grown more, one being my favorite fighter. I'll put him at 6.
6 pretty solid. You know, I'm kind of with you for like making fun of him with everyone else. I've picked him every time he's fought.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, I like the guy, but he's just like, there's sometimes some things he does where I'm like, you know, has he shown me that I'm like, yeah, he's going to be a future champ? It's like, it's tough. I need to see him fight someone like Shavkat, like, you know, somewhat JDM, something like that. But he's just beating guys that are like, did that really show you? You beat MVP, like, did that really show you?
And now Dana did not like that fight
No,
at all.
no, not at all. I mean, they didn't like grappling Ian at all.
No. How about we make the Colby fight? No?
Yeah,
that'd be a great fight.
Yeah, I think that'd be an amazing fight. And the thing is, that made no sense. Is Colby called for it, and then Ian called back, and then Colby said no. I'm like, what? That's perfect. You get a guy that if you beat him, you're back in the win column, and if Ian beats him, that puts him in a really good spot. Yeah. So it was a perfect one. But
great point, love it. Ian Gary at 6. Next one up, Cyril Gahn. Cyril Gahn.
I honestly haven't. You know, other than that one funny clip of him acting like Nate Diaz. I think it was Nate. Yeah, and he was like mimicking him. I haven't. You know, I'd probably put him at 8. He's not like I just don't know much about him. Other than just, you know, I know his style of fighting, and like other than that, it's like it's just not.
I don't blame him. He is a diva.
Oh my gosh! Yeah, I forgot all the whole like. You know, when he was number 1 contender, like fighting for the belt, he was like, I only want to fight the belt. He didn't want to fight Tom Aspinall. And then when Aspinall gets the belt, now he's calling for the fight. I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, fight a contender, please.
And apparently they offered him the interim title shot, and he said no. And he wanted to main event Paris, and they said, no, we'll give you a 3-round fight. And he said, I don't want to fight in Paris unless it's the main event. So now you're the third fight on the main card.
And then he had said that he doesn't sometimes he doesn't even feel the motivation to like fight. I just don't think he mentally is there to be a champion. So
I don't blame you at 8. Light heavyweight division, Jamal Hill, former champion.
10. Oh my gosh. I used to like him before he fought. I was like, you're good, and I'm good at giving people their grace, and like I'm like, okay, benefit it out. But it's just like seeing him just gabble so much after losing. He's like, oh, I'll be back, win or lose, I'm gonna fight you again, Alex. I'm like, dude, what is wrong with you? And then he's like, I'm gonna do this. It's on site next time. And then they have that big video of him seeing him in public. He's like, oh, nice to meet you. Like, seeing you, it's so cordial, and I'm like, oh gosh, he's being so unlikable right now. It's very hard to be a Jamal Hill fan.
No, and he was trying to say that Paris stepped on his foot and Herb stopped it. It was like an inside job or something.
Oh my gosh. And then he said, like, next time I want a proper stoppage. I'm like, you just want a longer time before you just get knocked out again. I'm like, okay. And then the thing is you kicked him. Like, when he said he waved him, you kicked him to get the little wave off. and then you were the first one to throw a punch before Pereira knocked you out. So it's like you were ready because you threw a punch. So, just none of it made sense. 10 easily.
I do not blame you. Here's one for you. Joaquin Buckley. Joaquin Buckley.
Oh, gosh.
Ooh.
7.
7 for Buckley.
I like him better than Cyril Gahn, but the call out might have been the worst call out I've ever seen. I saw it in the good guy, bad guy. He made a call out when he fought. He called out McGregor.
Gosh. Oh my! I forgot that.
I was literally I didn't even see it, but I saw it on good guy, bad guy, and I was like, "There's no way at welterweight winning call out." I'm like, and it wasn't even like DC said it would have been better if he threw out a couple names and threw out McGregor, but he made his entire post. He's like, Conor McGregor, come fight me. I'm like, dude, that was the one moment to call out a good ranked welterweight. Make it, you just had a good win, and then now everyone just doesn't no one's paying cares anymore.
No, and I always love when Dana comments on the fighters because he's always just like, "What a dumb effing call!"
Yeah,
can you believe he called that?
He literally said that. That's the one thing I do like about Dana. He's straight up.
That's a great point. But he's taking on Wonderboy Thompson, so he's getting a top 10 guy. Alrighty, here's another person taking over the UFC. One of their big boys that they love, Paddy Pimblett.
Oh shit. I've liked him more recently. Not more. I'll put him 5. He's not 9, but he's not. But I don't want to. But I wouldn't say I like him more than Ian Gary. But I'll put him at 5.
Okay.
He's been better lately. He's been a lot less this trying to be McGregor type of person. He's just been himself, and he's been fighting way better. And he's doing better than his partner Molly McCann. So. I'm not too much of a hater for him anymore.
No, I don't blame you. I love picking him because he's just I feel like every time he fights, it's like I'm waiting for him to get finished, and then
it doesn't.
He pulls it out.
I'm like, okay,
I rock with you.
Good.
Alrighty, got a good one at lightweight. Recently rejoined the top 5, Dan Hooker. New look too.
Let me go 3. Yeah, Dan Hooker looked good. He looked really good. I was very surprised by his performance. It's one of those things where I feel like every fight he said the same thing. I'm going to be a new Dan Hooker. This is new me. And then he just went out there and just shit the bed.
Yeah.
And then so this time when he did that, I was like, whoa. Against a guy that I was like, that is a future champ right there. I was like, what's his name again?
Who he fought? Matus Gamrot.
Gamrot, yeah. He fought Gamrot. And I was like, Gamrot's either a future champ or a future top 2 type of guy. And or at least a title challenger. But losing to to Hooker, I was like, no way.
No.
And then Hooker pulled it off, and ever since the tats and I don't know what changed, but dude is he's pulling off a Charles Oliveira career.
Something happened, and he was like
a switch, and now he's
tattoos, dye my hair.
Yeah,
it works. And have you seen his Dustin Poirier fight? Did you watch that over COVID?
Oh my gosh!
Might be my favorite of all time.
That wasn't if you watch it with the sound, the hearing all the sounds of the fight, it's such a good fight.
It is such an amazing fight.
Yeah. Oh my gosh! Absolutely.
I'm with you on Dan Hooker. Henry Cejudo.
This would be controversial, but I'll put him at 4.
Okay.
Because I actually do like him better than everyone else on this list, just because he's the king of cringe. I watch his channel, and I respect him. I think his fight IQ is very high. I feel like being a double champ, you should immediately respect that person as a fighter anyway. And he hasn't done anything that makes me think why would you like him? I mean, when I see Pound for Pound their podcast, all the comments are just shitting on Cejudo, and I'm like, I don't see the hate. I just I don't really see it. I don't have a problem with him. He's fought good people. He's saying he might move. I think he said there's a 90% chance he moves on back down to flyweight,
which would be insane.
Crazy because he's getting his diet right, he's switching it, and I'm like, honestly, for your last part of your career, trying to make one last run, I think it's a better chance there than bantamweight. I mean, he lost the title, he's lost to the champion, he's lost to the former champion, he's lost to Marab, so it's at this point you're 3 wins plus, and so away from a title shot at bantamweight, 2-3 wins, and so it's going back on the flyweight. I mean, we all know I think the competition at flyweights easier.
Yeah, we mentioned earlier, it's wide open.
So I'm and if you get 1 win in a top 5 guy, you're probably going to get a title shot down there. So I think he should go down there, and I don't dislike him as a fighter.
I like it. By the way, the last guy to become a double champ, no one's been able to do it.
When you said that, I was I forgot it's been that long.
Because you think about it, Izzy fought for a double shot, and he didn't get it. Gosh, who else? I know there've been more.
Oh, it was no one's gone up to welterweight. It was Volk.
Volk tried at lightweight. That's
twice.
what it was.
Yep.
Okay, I think what I was more thinking of is how many people actually call out double shots.
Yeah. Oh God. They need to have an official rule for that. Like official 3 to 5 title defenses minimum for like a double touch and call out.
We're gonna talk about UFC 306 in a moment, but I'm gonna say this right now. I guarantee if O'Malley wins, he calls out Topira, doesn't even mention Umar.
Nope. I think if he fought Umar, beat him, then went up, that would be that would. I think you'd earn the respect of every UFC fan if he win. Because now if he goes up, it's gonna be you're ducking Umar, you're not fighting Umar, blah blah blah. But I understand though because actually we can go on before we talk. We're gonna talk about UFC. Yeah.
We got fun stuff here. Another fighter for you, Tom Aspinall. Tommy Aspinall.
I'll put him at 2. I'm not like a giant fan of him, but I respect him as a fighter a lot, and he's I have no problems with it. He's just that really weird comment with Nina because it was
that was weird.
Because apparently she just I think his reasoning was she always asks all the fighters just weird questions, but not that weird, and then he just drops that, and I'm like, hello?
Yeah, if no one knows, he asked the UFC's newest social media interviewer, have you ever been fingered by a UFC fighter before?
Yeah, and then she was like, excuse me?
I think we're all watching,
I was like, did you not just say that? And then he repeated it, and I was like, oh my fuck. I was like, oh dude, come on. I was like, no matter how weird she makes it, let her do her. Yeah. You don't need to join that. So I was like, I'm just going to choose to forget about that one.
But you know what? You're good now, Tom.
Yeah.
I'm glad you don't make any more comments like that. All right, what spots do we have left on your list?
1 and 9.
1 and 9.
Yeah.
Let me hit you. Ooh, I kind of want to trip you out here. I'm going to give you Justin Gaethje. I want you to think.
I like him more than a lot of the people in this top 2 to 8, but do I like him my favorite? I'll put him at 9. Okay. But I like Justin Gaethje a lot, but say favorite is
Absolutely. Nah. And I already just knew who your favorite was. Aljamain Sterling.
Absolutely.
I wanted to see if you had your number 1 spot still.
Actually, Aljamain Sterling's my guy. He's commented on many of my posts, but not my posts. I've liked my comments and responded to things, so it's
which was so cool.
Well, I know, it's so sick. So I'm thinking actually starting to see my name popping up enough. I'm like, hey, that's the same guy that comments. So it's pretty cool.
Pretty cool moment. So, what's your list, and what would you change about some of it?
So Aljamain Sterling's 1. That's good. Tom Aspinall's 2. I think I would put him below Dan Hooker, below Cejudo. Honestly, below Ian Gary. JB was just... Who's JB?
Joaquin Buckley.
Oh, yeah. So I think he'd end up floating around the 6'5" to 7 spot. Dan Hooker, he's good being up there. Cejudo's good being up there. He's good there. Ian Gary's good there. Buckley, he can stay there, but he can be lower or probably lower. Cirogan, good at 8, could go lower. Justin Gaethje would be way higher, and Jamal Hill can stay at 10.
Like it.
Yeah.
That's pretty good. Any other fighters that you would say are some of your favorite ones?
So I watch a lot of the YouTube channels and and things like that, and so the ones that I do subscribe to, I watch Cejudo's. I watch Good Guy Bad Guy with DC and Shale, so I like them too a lot. I like Aljamain Sterling. I subscribe to Sean O'Malley, but he's kind of some days I'm I actually like you, and some days I'm I don't know.
Fluctuates.
It fluctuates. I think that's kind of it. I like them 4. I like Izzy a lot. And I think that's it. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, not too bad. I'm kind of there's some fighters I always like to look that kind of get when they fight, I get all anxious and stuff.
Yeah, who are your favorite fighters?
Oh, it's so tough. It used to be Colby.
Oh, sorry, Colby is definitely...
It really used to be Colby. I've actually been a Topuria fan for a while now,
Really?
And especially when he faces Holloway, I'm just going to be waiting for someone to go out. Jury fan, so I mean it's been tough watching him against Pereira. And I was kind of like to find like the fighters no one really knows about and pick them as my favorites. It's always gotta be different. But I know we've mentioned Tatsuro Taira. I really like him. He's on the come up.
I think he's pretty sick. I think any country when it's a country that's not popular has like a guy that's a good fighter and like a good role model for that country in terms of being a fighter. I think it's always really sick to watch. Like Topuria and Tatsuro Taira.
Yeah.
I just think like when you have those small countries have that one guy that just goes and does it. Shavkat, like those guys
Another
are
favorite,
all really cool.
But yeah, then final guy Oliveira. Every time Charles has fought, there's just something like I'm watching. I'm just like, Charles, don't lose. Please don't lose.
Oh, and even when he gets dropped, I'm like, no, yeah, I agree with you there. One of my friends, we always just call him a Brazilian fanboy because he literally, like, all of his favorite fighters were Figgy, Charles, Alex. Like, it's literally all Brazilian fighters, but.
Hey, better than a Dagestani fanboy.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
But yeah, do you remember the Justin Gaethje Oliveira fight? That's like the most chaotic 3 or 4 minutes of MMA.
That's like, your heart is like, the entire fight is ridiculous.
You're like, Oliveira's down. He just dropped Gaethje.
And he has like questionable stand up too.
Yeah.
Like he's able to stand up and he's knocking guys down. I'm like, Oliveira, what is going on?
No.
But it's crazy because the way he's fighting, even when he fought Arman, you could still say he's fighting championship level like fights.
Yep.
Like he's not. You don't see him declining. Like he should be hanging up. He's fighting still as good as he could. And I think if he gets that strap around him, it'll just do that level up again, where he'll look like a champion. So.
And I mean, Oliveira's a guy where one big win,
and
they put him back against Mankato.
I think if either the timing is right, like a Dustin Poirier situation, he'd fight for the title, or I think if he went and beat someone like Arman or. He lost to Arman already, or someone in the top 5. So
hey, Hooker's at 5, recently broke in. That could be the next fight they do.
A lot of people were saying that white hair versus white hair.
Oh my gosh, yeah. Could do tattoos. I love it. Well, this has been a fun time, Zeke, but there's one last thing we have to do.
What do we have to do?
We have to go over UFC 306. 10 fights on the year here on the pod.
I have a couple bets on this one, too.
Ooh, we'll have to share that. 221 and 142 on full card predictions. So, I mean, we're up. We're almost up 100. It's been pretty good. We got some fun fights.
You said what was your record?
221 correct picks, 142 incorrect.
Well, that's not bad.
It's not too bad.
Not too bad.
I've been on this little streak with the pay-per-view main events of going risky. Like, I was like, Steve Erceg, he's going to beat him. No. Poirier was fighting. Like, I'm going to go Poirier. I was like, Prohaska, he's going to get his revenge on Vera. This is kind of my revenge one right here. But, I mean, the glaring thing, we were going to mention this, the bout order. Kind of low on the talent level.
Yeah, I think for being UFC Noche, this once in a lifetime movie type cinematic event, I'm like, you need to load up, like throw Moreno in there with someone, I don't even know.
Yair
Rodriguez, like throw some guys like that in there. It doesn't even have to be Spanish. Just get some bigger names in there because I just think it's like 2 fights off of being like a stacked card. Like I'm like, okay, I think there's the main event and there's like the Ortega fight that I'm like, whoa, yes.
Yeah.
And then every other fight is like, that could be a fight night. That could be on a different card. Like, could have been a couple more cards, but I think as long as it fulfills itself in terms of the entertainment, maybe it'll still be good, and maybe the fights are just really good.
Absolutely, and the entertainment. Have you heard Dana White said there's going to be a mini movie playing throughout between every fight?
Yeah, I'm not sure what that implies. I mean, I could see it being Dana White just saying that, and then it's just really just them just showing their highlights, and then it's just like... I
think that's what it is.
That's what probably... I don't know, but...
But the fact that the sphere, like, I have no idea what the octagon's going to look like.
It's
going to be so cool.
From what I've seen, it looks like it's like they sit all diagonally, and then it's like the sphere's like and then like the octagon's like at the bottom, and you're sitting all up here. It's sick.
Which, I don't know if they're going to do this, because I don't know if it'll throw the fighters off, but you know how it's like a 3D screen that kind of comes over? I don't know if they're going to do it, but do you think they're going to put the fight on that in the background while they're fighting? That would be
so sick.
That would look cool.
I did see that their tickets are like not selling.
Yeah, because they wanted like $5,000, $10,000 every ticket.
And I just think again you had to stack it like 300 type of like a 300 or a 308 level card to get that, because it's like even if I saw those tickets and I was in Mexico, I don't think I would buy those tickets.
No.
like other than just to be able to go to the Sphere, I think I'd go to the Sphere more than to like, because it's like, okay, Merab Sean, yes. And it's like Diego Lopez and Ortega, it's like, okay, well, Diego could, he's kind of still on that cusp. So it's like.
Well, we got 10 fights. We're going to go through all 10 of them. Let me know if you got any bets on when we get to them fighters, and you can always look stuff up on your own phone if you want some stats. But we kick things off, bantamweight division, the youngest fighter to ever win the UFC, Raul Rosas Jr. He's back against Algorquin, I believe how you say his name.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen. He has one name.
I've not seen any of his fights, but all I know about Raul Rosas Jr. is it's like, I remember when he was on the come up, he was so geeked to be like the young guy. So he was just running in, using all of his energy, trying to just submit people fast. Trying to just be like the guy that just submits everybody and goes up to the title. And so now he's kind of taking it back, and he's been getting some wins here and there. He hasn't fought a top 15 guy yet. He just said in an interview he wants to get the belt at 25 then retire.
I saw that.
He wants to get the belt at 21 and then retire. I was like,
okay.
And then the comments were like, who knew CTA hits at 19? And I was like, I don't know. It's hard to bet against him just because he is such a rising star. But again, it's like, I've seen him struggle against not high-ranked guys at all. So,
absolutely. So, here we go. Raul El Nino Problema Rosas Jr. takes on the Mongolian Murderer, Algorquin. What a nickname for him, huh? Raul 9-1, Algorquin 25-11. 5'9" to 5'7" gives Raul 2 inches in height. He also has a 2-inch reach deficit, 69 inches to 67 for Algorquin. Switch stance for Raul, orthodox for Algorquin.
You have to go with Raul Rosas Jr. just because, when you're young and hungry, it's like you're against these veteran guys that are usually stepping stools to get yourself to a position of a title.
Yeah.
So I'd say Raul Rosas Jr. is probably going to take this one. I'd say probably by submission. He doesn't look like he's not a stand-up guy, on paper. So I'd assume it's going to be some sort of submission or decision.
Yeah, I like that. Raul minus, I got these odds from Tapology on Monday. Raul minus 700 favorites, probably gone down or up. But 19, he was born in New Mexico, now lives in California. Of his 9 victories, 2 KOs, and 6 subs. So it would work perfectly for you. Algorquin plus 475. So if you want a little underdog money, you can bet on him. 31 years old from Inner Mongolia, China.
Interesting.
Of his 25 wins, 8 KOs, 1 sub. Of his 11 losses, he's been finished 4 times. So, very interesting. Raul did fight earlier this year in June. Got a submission over Ricky Tercios.
Oh, yeah. I don't even know who the guy he beat was. I did watch the fight, though.
I was so glad he beat Ricky. Ricky, flicked him off mid-fight.
Did he really?
And then Raul was like, no, and took him down and just submitted him. So.
That's funny.
I completely agree with you, Raul. I got taking this one home. I'm probably gonna go by submission. Just you mentioned it. He starts his fights so fast.
Starts them
and now Gorquin. His last win was October 2023. He beat a guy named Johnny Munoz. Rings a bell, but nothing too much there. Like I said, you make a great point. Does this warrant buying a $1,000 ticket to watch this fight?
I feel like it should have been 300 type of stack. Not beating it because you can't. You have to keep 300 on a pedestal. This is the standard.
Yeah.
But you don't want to pass that because then it makes 300 look like nothing. But I think honestly 308 is that threshold.
It's up there.
Like that.
And I get where they're just like, well, we don't need to load up because it's the Sphere. People watch it because it's the Sphere.
But you gotta have the fights to produce.
Yeah. Next one up, flyweight matchup. We got Edgar Cherez taking on Joshua Van. Joshua Van stepping in on short notice for this one. Somewhat unknown flyweights unless you're looking at every single Apex card like we do here. But Edgar Cherez plus 165, Joshua Van minus 205, Josh 22, Edgar Cherez 28. Edgar born in Mexico, Josh born in Myanmar, now in Houston. Pretty interesting. Edgar, 6 inches in reach, looks pretty notable. 71 inches to 65. He last won in February, submitting Daniel Lacerda.
Probably have to go with Edgar Cherez, just because, short notice always is going to be something that's going to be taken care of, and 6 inches is a lot of reach.
Yeah.
And it's at flyweight, like you can really abuse that because they're so small. So I just think, and cutting down to flyweight on short notice is even more of a hard thing to do because those flyweights can walk around like 150.
Yep.
So like short notice can be definitely difficult to try and cut down to. So
That's a great point. Also, Joshua, he last fought in July, lost to Charles Johnson, who has a 5-inch reach on him. So pretty similar situation there. But I mean, 22 years old. You know what?
Yeah.
He's a year older than us fighting in the UFC.
Crazy.
I believe he is 10-1 or so. He's 10-2. 10-2, 8 finishes in that. Edgar Shiraz, 4 KOs and 7 submissions. 100% finish rate for Edgar Shiraz.
Yeah, Shiraz definitely will probably take that one.
So, yeah, I'll go with Edgar Shiraz. I'll ride with you. Plus, it's a little underdog pick. It's always interesting, yeah.
He's underdog?
Yeah.
Really?
Plus 165, unless it's changed, unless you see some. They're always changing these odds up, but there you go. Next one up, a little women's strawweight action for you. My favorite division, the women's strawweight division. I love them so much.
Yeah.
Yasmin Jaraguay taking on Ketlin Esquadinha Souza. What a nickname for you. Yasmin 11-1, Ketlin Souza 14-4. Pretty similar stats, both 5'3", both 64-inch reach. Yasmin 3-1 in the UFC, 25 years old. She's from Mexico. 7 KOs and 11 wins. Ketlin Souza plus 400 underdog, 29 years old from Brazil. Yasmin is the minus 550 favorite here.
Yeesh.
I mean, gosh, I don't really know.
I think Yasmin, I mean, being 11-1, that's gonna do it for you. And the other girl's 29. The older you get, the harder it is to cut that kind of weight. And, especially in women's fighting, usually those older women don't tend to have as much success. But
no.
Yeah.
Not at all. And plus, she's from Mexico. This is technically a Mexico. Now, that's another great point. It's called UFC 306 Riyadh Season Noche UFC. The Saudi Arabians just decided to sponsor themselves for this event.
Yeah, and there the whole debate on why it's not a Mexican title fight as the main event, but there's no Mexican fighters that are high ranked, or the highest ranked is Moreno or Yair, or I guess Ortega's on there, but yeah.
That's very interesting, but I agree with you, Yasmin. I hate to be mean, ladies. Yeah. Not that much excitement. No. Now, here's one that I'm actually going to let you know might be exciting. Lightweight matchup, Manuel Torres, Ignacio Bahamondes. Okay, Manuel Torres, 29 years old. He's a plus 100 favorite from Mexico. On a little 6-fight win streak. 15 wins. He has 14 finishes, including 3 straight in the UFC, all in round 1.
Interesting.
Very interesting. Ignacio, you've probably seen his highlights. A lot of big spinning back kicks, front kicks.
I saw him on Embedded today.
Really?
Yeah.
Anything pop out to you?
Nope, just saw him, doing his day-to-day things to get ready for the fight. Looked good, but...
He actually trains at VFS Academy, same gym as Yair Rodriguez. So, pretty fascinating there. 10 KOs and 1 submission for him. He's born in Chile, now in Chicago. Personally, for me, I'm going with Manuel Torres.
Yeah, I was going to say Manuel Torres is, getting 3 fights in the UFC already, even if they're not ranked, is a good thing to do. And, he's 29, which is starting to get older, but again, they're both under 30. So, I think as long as he can close that distance, it'll be fine.
I've absolutely seen. By the way, they just added Manuel Torres to EA Sports UFC 5.
Oh, did they?
They're adding anyone to that. There's this girl named Josiane Nunez who's just unranked women's bantamweight who never wins, and they added her 2 months ago. So it's kind of a meme here whenever she fights. By the way, she's in the video game.
It should be an achievement to get put on the game.
It should be. Or just if you're in the rankings, maybe even something like that.
Out of the rankings is kind of crazy.
I don't know. And with that, this is just how quick this card's going to go. We're on to our final prelim of the night. It's in the women's bantamweight division, and it is between the number 5 ranked Irene Aldana and number 8 ranked Norma Dumont.
I do know Irene Aldana. She's the one that just fought for. She fought against the last person to fight against Nunez before she retired, right?
Yes, she actually got a fight in December, but yes.
Yes, and I remember watching that fight against Nunez, thinking when I watched the build-up, I was like, "Oh, Irene Aldana, she looks like she can box her. She looks like she can bring something to the table that Nunez hasn't seen for a bit." And then it just looked like her battery got taken out during the fight. Like, she just stood there. She didn't throw a punch. She didn't try anything. And I was like, what is going on? And then I think she was just one of those things, like I said about the Jones Gown fight, where I think she just like gave her too much of the benefit. She just gave her too much respect.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I don't know what much about the other girl.
I probably do know more. One thing I'll say about Ariane Aldana, she had a fight against Carol Rosa in December. This is wild. If you have some free time, Ariane Aldana, Carol Rosa, one of the best woman fights I've ever seen. Bloody, brutal. Really caught me off guard. Looked nothing like her Amanda Nunes performance. She is Mexican. Actually trains at the same gym as Diego Lopez and Alexa Grasso. She is 36. Norma Dumont, her opponent, doing pretty good on a little 4-fight win streak. She is 7-1 in the UFC. But I mean, she has 2 finishes in 11 wins. So
I think Ariane Aldana would probably get it done. Even though she didn't show up in the title fight, I do think that when it's not a title fight, she's shown that she could beat a lot of people. Mm-hmm. So, and her boxing looks really good, like in every fight other than Nunez. So.
She's a Mexican fighter. We'll be biased here.
That's gonna. I mean, any Mexican fighters, that's like you get like a stat boost for being Mexican.
You kind of do. I mean, I always feel that unless you're in Canada. I swear the Canadian fighters never win when they're in Canada.
Yeah, I remember Canadian when they had that Toronto card. There was like every Canadian did not do well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Alrighty, Zeke, and just like that, we're in the main card, and this is the Sphere event. This is the pay-per-view for September. All right, and kicking off the main card is Ronaldo Rodriguez versus Ode Osborne. Now, Zeke asked me, what are they ranked?
I do not think so. Last time I looked at the UFC rankings, is it Ronaldo Rodriguez?
It is, and I'll let you know. Not only are they not ranked, they are nowhere near the rankings.
Really?
And Ode Osborne is, in fact, on a 2-fight losing streak.
Oh, goodness. And that's main card?
Main card. Finished in both of them by rear naked chokehold.
Oh, goodness. That's one of those things where I'm like, that's where it could be a little better.
It's just, I don't know. Ronaldo.
I think at least the main event should be, not the main event, the main card should be, stacked.
Exactly.
That's ridiculous.
But I don't know. Ronaldo Rodriguez, 25 years old, from Mexico, 12 finishes and 16 wins. He's 1-0 in the UFC. He got a rear naked chokehold in February. I will say the one notable thing, I do believe, Ode Osborne has a 8-inch reach advantage, 73 inches to 65, which could be notable, but Ronaldo getting it done in the submission game, and Ode has been submitted his last 2 fights.
Yeah, definitely Ronaldo Rodriguez here. I think they're going to obviously put a lot of bias in terms of the matchups for Mexican fighters, because obviously they want the Mexican crowd to be able to get fighters. So
true.
They're going to give them a lot of people that are losing that want to look back to get a good win. They're going to give those Mexican fighters, maybe the easier matchup. But it looks like here, Ronaldo Rodriguez is going to have an easier time.
I agree with you. And by the way, Ode finished in 6 of his 7 losses. So
Finished. Really?
Submitted or knocked out.
Oh, goodness.
So you can bet that Ronaldo's probably getting a finish in this.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, Ode, he does train with Khalil Roundtree, but he is not on the same level as Khalil Roundtree. So we're both agreeing Ronaldo Rodriguez gets it done. And then what I kind of consider the final fight before the big 3, the actual pay-per-view. Yeah. This should actually be a good one, I hope.
It's the end of the prelims.
It's basically a 7-fight prelim card.
Yeah.
We got Daniel Golden Boy Zaluber taking on Esteban El Gringo Ribovics. These two are actually kind of entertaining. Zaluber is the minus 230 favorite, plus 190 for Esteban. Daniel Zaluber has a 8-inch reach advantage, 77 inches to 69, 2 inches in height as well. Zaluber, Mexican fighter, trains at Extreme Couture, same gym as Sean Strickland, Chris Curtis. Zaluber, 7 KOs and 3 subs, so 10 finishes and 15 wins, on a little 3-fight win streak. As for Esteban Ribovics, fairly new to the UFC, 2-1, 28 years old from Argentina, and 13 wins, 12 finishes. You may remember him from his nasty knockout of Terrence McKinney with a head kick.
Oh, yup.
That's Esteban.
That's Esteban. Ooh.
Which is it's probably gonna be in my top 5 KOs of the year.
Oh yeah.
If you've seen it, right, where he paints some, slumps him up against the cage.
Dude, but then McKinney's also very reckless, So
McKinney's definition, dude. What is it? Live by the sword, die by the sword.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. She's like living by the Justin Gaethje type of fight path. Yeah, and so I don't know. It's gonna be a close fight for sure. I mean, they both have only one loss. Who has more experience in the UFC?
Definitely Zaluber. Rivovic's been in there since 22. Zaluber's been there since 21.
Okay. I'm gonna have to go with Zaluber. I just think the reach and height can play such a big part, and other than beating McKinney, but I feel like it was more McKinney being a dumb, not fight IQ smart than him being a really, really good fighter. And Zaluber just looked better.
Yeah, and by the way, Zaluber got an anaconda choke round 2 at technically last year's UFC Noche. They did that in September. And he also won again in February, a little fight of the night. So
yeah, he's more winning too.
I'm with you with Zaluber, 15-1 record for him. And like Manuel Torres, he was added to EA Sports UFC 5, which I don't know, there might be a curse. Look, we're going to talk about Valentina in a second. Volk and Asanya, look where they've ended since they got put on the cover.
The deluxe and the main game, man. There they all go.
Rough. Well, now we get into UFC 306. Here we go, kicking it off. Featherweight division. Only the third and fourth ranked fighters on this card. We had some women's bantamweights, but now we have what could potentially be number 1 title shot territory. The number 3 ranked Brian Ortega and the now 13th ranked Diego Lopez. They dropped him down a notch in the latest rankings update. I don't know why, but this is gonna be a banger. Brian T. City Ortega, 16-3. Diego Lopez, 25-6. The experience this guy has: 5'11" to 5'8". Diego Lopez, 3 inches in height, also has 3 inches in reach. 72 inches to 69 inches. Ortega currently the underdog at plus 155. Lopez minus 180 is the favorite.
See, for this fight, I have my bet is for Lopez to go the distance. I think the only part of this fight I have is going the distance, just because. But I do think Lopez will get it done, even though I'm not fully bought into the Lopez hype yet. Just because it's like we haven't, a close fight with Danny Ige, but he literally switched between 3 weight classes in 24 hours. It was like he was coming in for a featherweight fight, then he went up to a lightweight fight for Ortega, and then Ortega pulled out, so then he fought Danny Ige on 3 hours notice or whatever. So, that's going to make anyone fight a lot worse. But
great point.
He hasn't fought. I mean, Brian Ortega's 3 losses are 1 to Max, 1 to Volkanovski, and then 1 to
Yair, which was an injury.
Yeah, and then he had an injury. So it's like Ortega lost to only big dogs, but the only reason I have it going for Diego Lopez as my prediction is because, I've seen interviews in his last fight when he was going to fight, him saying that win or lose, he's going to lightweight because he doesn't see himself getting a title shot soon, which he isn't wrong, because he said if Ilya and Max fight and Max wins, then Volk's going to get that fight because he's beaten him 3 times.
Yeah.
If Ilya wins, then regardless, Ilya said that Volk's going to get his rematch. And then with those rematches happening, that would mean that Ortega title fight wouldn't be till probably late next year, a year from now. And so he's like, I don't want to wait that long if I'm going to get in the position for a title shot, especially at his age.
Yeah.
So I was like, most people that are already on their way out to the next division, I want to go to lightweight, I feel like usually lose when they're already in the mindset of win or lose, I'm going to go up to the next weight class. And so, and this also is just ever since the whole Tracy Cortez thing and everything like that, and I think he lost a family member or something, he's just been he just doesn't feel the same. I feel like being Lopez and going towards the title and a hype train, I feel you just have way better mental, and I just think he's just been on a storm that's just going to not stop. So
I really like that. And the distance pick, I really find fascinating because Lopez, besides the Danige fight, all his fights have lasted 1 minute and 30 seconds or less.
See, I wanted to say that they wouldn't, but it's just, I just think that Ortega is just the toughest he's going to get. Yep. So I just am I'm giving Ortega the benefit of the doubt that he's going to be able to withstand the storm. I mean, he's gotten rounds with a lot of champions, so I just think that it could go the distance.
Yeah, I like that. Lopez, born in Brazil, now kind of reps Mexico. So, but same thing for Ortega, born in California. He reps Mexico. Actually trains at the same gym as Mackenzie Dern and Laido Machida, UFC legend. Fun fact for you, Black House MMA. And yeah, you mentioned supposed to fight at 303. Now they're fighting now. I completely agree with the Lopez pick. As for me, I'm going to say we get a Lopez starch here.
Really?
And my reasoning is because Yair damn near knocked him out in February.
True.
And Yair just had no ground abilities. Now, what I've seen against Lopez is he kind of does have some ground abilities when he needs to. But I do like your stance on Ortega. He's so durable. He can go the distance, but I don't know. I'm so like, if you're knocking him out right away, go do it.
That'd be exciting. Very exciting for the night.
But yeah, I completely agree with you, Diego Lopez, no matter how he does it. And then we get into our co-main event. I was actually scared for a bit that they might have made this the main event just because. But you get actually your number one pound-for-pound woman on the planet, according to UFC rankings, Alexa Grasso, take on the number 3 pound-for-pound fighter. That's right, your current women's flyweight champion. Alexa Grasso takes on the number 1 contender, Valentina Shevchenko. And this is a trilogy, and I'm a little worried if Valentina wins, we might have to fight again. I really hope not.
Who have we else have seen fight 4 times? Who was it?
Biggie and Moreno.
Yes, and I think we are all tapped out from that fight at that point.
Yep.
So, I think even this one, I'm like, I feel like they've been fighting forever. I feel like Alexa Grasso got the belt in, 22?
Grasso, 23, March
23, so it was about a year and a half ago or so. So, it's just been so long. But I do have it going the distance. And
Agree.
And I have it going for Grasso, actually.
Agreed.
Because I think that, first of all, Shevchenko's getting older. And, we know the statistics of when someone loses the belt on getting it back is super low. And for her to be older and she's fighting the belt again, Grasso's just fighting to hold the belt and actually fight contenders. Shevchenko was the person at one point was who can beat her.
Yeah.
And so now it's like, I feel like first time Grasso choked her out, so she knows she has that in her back pocket. Then they drawed, so it's like, okay, so, they show that they're close. And so now at this point, I just feel like mentally Grasso's just going to be there, and I think also just her boxing is just going to look better than Shevchenko. And I just think that, she's going to lose this, and Shevchenko's going to be on her way out.
I agree with you. Shevchenko took on Talia Santos. You saw her almost lose that fight. Got choked out by Grasso. Then kind of lost the final round really badly in that fight against Grasso a year ago. And Grasso hasn't lost since 2019.
That's crazy.
Which is actually pretty crazy. Like you said, Valentina, 36. Grasso's 31. She's the Mexico fighter. Valentina from Kyrgyzstan. Fights at Tiger Muay Thai, 15 finishes. It doesn't really matter at this point. She's past that threshold. Now, I will say the fact that Grasso is the favorite is pretty crazy because I think this is the first time Valentina's been the underdog.
I was going to say, because even if Valentina beats her, it's like, what would be next for Valentina that she hasn't beaten?
No. Yeah. You got Manon Fiorot coming up in that division, Aaron Blanchfield, Macy Barber.
And those girls, I think those two are fighting, actually.
Yeah.
They're not booked, but I think they're set, almost going to, I think it got set and then canceled. Something like that. I don't remember.
I don't know. I just want it to be entertaining. My mother has said this when she's like, "Oh, what's the main event?" I'm like, "Oh, it's some women's fighter." She goes, really?
Yeah, as long as it's entertaining. I do not want to see a draw. Honestly, I prefer a finish, even though my bet would be wrong. I would honestly prefer a finish because I don't really want, unless those 5 rounds are like a war. Then, then let's get after it then.
Which, come on, bring it. You're at the Sphere.
And me personally, I'd have Weili as my pound-for-pound queen.
So would I.
Easily.
Zhang Weili is super fun. Now, occasionally, she'll lean on her grappling, but you know what?
Absolutely.
Well, we'll give it to her. And, I always like to point out, women's bantamweight. How many women's bantamweights can you name? That's one of my favorite questions to always ask people.
Nunez. She's retired.
It's such a dead division.
Kayla Anderson?
Yeah, Kayla Harrison. She needs to save the division.
And Raquel Penn. Oh gosh, now I remember
It's
that
rough.
division. Yeah, that division is. Oh, I just need Kayla to get the belt so I can.
We'll leave women's bantamweight off the corner, but Zeke,
Yeah.
there's certain bantamweight division, the men's bantamweight division, which is electric, and this is our main event for the Sphere. Do you think it's worthy of being the Sphere main event?
You know, honestly, I think when they had talked about, they said at one point it was McGregor was going to headline it, and then it was going to be it was going to be McGregor Diaz at one point, and then it was going to be other people. I think it's worthy, but I think it's worthy with enough on the card, which it doesn't. Yeah. I think if you added like a Moreno and someone else, and then maybe even another fight on this main card, I'd be like, boom, that's a good card. But them two as this is it, that's the fight, I think it's a little lackluster.
Yep.
But I think it's going to be an amazing fight.
I agree. Your number 6 pound-for-pound fighter, your bantamweight champion, Sean O'Malley, takes on the number 1 contender, Merab Dvalishvili. And O'Malley, 5 inches in height, which is pretty notable, 5'11", 5'6", 4 inches in reach, which is, something. I feel like Sean O'Malley, a lot more people think he has a bigger reach, but not too much.
I don't know if the height's wrong, but it says 5'9", and he always say 5'11" on his fight night, like on the day of.
Really?
He says he's 5'11", but I know he always he'll randomly say I'm 6'3", and he'll
Really?
say it. So I don't know if Google's wrong or he's lying or I don't know how tall he is, but I've seen people say he's 5'11", so.
I don't know. UFC stats says 5'11", but...
Oh, it does? Okay, yeah, Google says 5'9". I'm like, I don't think he's that short.
I don't know, honestly. Because, bantamweights are usually pretty small.
Yeah, I just know he's a lanky boy.
Yeah. O'Malley, minus 120. Merab, plus 100. These odds are pretty close. At least they were on Monday. Sean O'Malley.
They changed. I think before they were, it was Merab was the favorite.
What?
Yeah, Merab was the favorite. Because I remember in one of his earlier vlogs, they were talking about him being the underdog and how he's used to being the underdog. So, weird.
Interesting. Oh, that's good to know. Sean O'Malley, 13 finishes in 18 wins. Here's my favorite statistic. Merab, 4 finishes in 17 wins. But Merab is on a 10-fight winning streak. Hey, if you're Sean O'Malley, you're 18-0 in your mind.
Yeah.
I mean, officially on a 3-fight win streak. O'Malley, of course, trains out at the MMA lab in Arizona. Him and Tim, they get it all done. But Merab, Sarah Jiu-Jitsu. He trains with your boy, Aljamain Sterling.
Absolutely.
33 years old for Merab, 29 for O'Malley. They're both in their prime. This should be probably the best fight of the night.
I would have to agree. I love Merab. I love Aljo. Aljo's my boy. And Merab is his best friend. And it's such a hard time trying to predict this fight, but it's the classic striker v grappler matchup. And it's the constant debate of can he get to him without getting touched.
Yeah.
And I feel like the thing is we have this debate with many fighters, and it just is subjective to which fighters you're talking about, because with people like Izzy and Sean O'Malley, they're way higher tiered than every other striker in terms of the movement. Like if you look at someone like Conor when he fought Khabib in that striker grappler matchup, Conor didn't have that type of movement.
No.
Maybe early in his career, but he had that karate stance.
Yeah.
So Izzy and Sean's main weapon was being able to move and constantly feint and get you to not want to go in. And the thing is also about Merab is he's been cracked by Cejudo and Moraes.
That's a great point.
Yeah, he's been not even cracked. It was like about to get literally wobbled. Yeah, and so seeing that, I'm like, and even in his interviews, he said I want Sean to hit me because that's gonna make me angrier and it's gonna make me want to take him down. And I'm like, thing is, Merab, I don't know how many punches. I don't think he can take many punches from Sean without going down.
That's a great point. Marlon Vera is a special case. Do you think Merab could have ate that knee?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
And by the way, Vera was dropped for the first time in his career against Figueiredo, I think because he was softened up that much.
I genuinely think that knee, literally softened. He was on 1 HP when we went into that fight. Because there's no way that Figueiredo has some devastating punch that knocked him.
I think you probably saw it. O'Malley just said on one of his podcasts or shows or whatever that was the hardest shot he's ever landed on someone.
Yeah. He literally was, So I'd have to agree with that, and I just think that Merab literally saying in multiple different interviews, because I've seen him on Good Guy, Bad Guy, I've seen him on his interview with DC, I've seen him on an interview with a bunch of different people, and I've seen him say over and over again, like, I want Sean to hit me, because if he hits me, that's going to make me more mad. I'm like, the thing is, I just don't think you can take more than 1, 2, 3 punches, good punches from Sean without getting dropped. So my prediction was under on rounds because I think Sean is going to get him out of there in the second or third. I want to say third just because it's just second or third because I'm just like, it just kind of depends on how that first round goes.
Yeah.
But I just think Murat's first round is just going to be feeling out. Sean's going to like pitter patter him again. We're going to be able to see how he looks on the feet. Second round's going to come around and he's going to start trying to shoot because because he knows that if it gets past that third, it's going to start going in Merab's favor, and I think Sean's going to start putting it on him, and Merab's going to start getting desperate to shoot, and then when he gets shoot, he's going to get there. I mean, Sean's greatest weapons is movement, knees, and striking. So.
Yeah. I like that pick. I agree with you on Sean O'Malley. I also agree on the finish as well. Round 2 or 3, I really like. Now, I will say, like, this, it's hard to compare any of these. I think the closest comparisons we have are the Petr Yan fight and the Aljamain Sterling fight. With Petr Yan landed 6 takedowns on him, and he got beat up so bad on the feet, he ended up losing that fight. Now with Sterling, attempted 1 in round 1, then got caught in round 2. Merab's pressure is way more than Sterling and Yan. So I think it's going to come down to, can O'Malley keep that distance more often? And also, apparently, I just think this is fight talk, but apparently they were saying that in his camp, he cannot figure out how to get off his back once he's taken down.
Sean O'Malley?
Yeah.
I did see that.
Okay.
I saw it was like Cejudo was
Yes,
close to
Cejudo
someone,
was saying
and then
it.
Cejudo's a blabbermouth, so once that person saw Cejudo went public about it, and now everybody knows that he can't. And I will agree, the one case I do give to Merab where my bet would be wrong is I do think that it could be a situation like, is he Sean Strickland? Where he's like, I can't not be pressured. Like, you were always there, and he can't feint. He's not reacting. He's not flinching. Yeah. And I think that once you get him against the fence, that round is going to be sitting there against the fence. So that's the only case I make for Merab. And I think if Merab is going to win, it will 1,000% be by the decision. There will him submitting Sean. I would be very shocked.
Yeah, I don't even know. That payout would probably retire us.
Oh, absolutely.
But, I mean, Merab, he hasn't fought a striker. And, I guess O'Malley fought Sterling, but Sterling was never really able to get it going.
No, I mean, it was the same situation for them. We were all like, if he gets him against the ground, on the ground, it's going to be an amazing, like, he's going to win. It's going to be easy. He was the favorite. And then he just never got there. So.
But I don't know. I feel like we're going to get that big fight feel once they're in the octagon. And I don't know. I feel like O'Malley finish is just, it's there.
There.
With Merab, it's just takedowns the whole entire fight.
Yeah, and I mean, did you see 53 takedowns on shot on Yan?
Oh my god!
Attempted. I'm like 53 is like actually I think it was a UFC record in a fight. Like that is like. Finn actually said he thinks he thinks there's no way he's not on drugs, on PEDs, because he's like you can't do that. Like
you average 10 plus around.
So that should be at max like 50. You know, and that's like 10 takedown attempts. Like that takes a lot out of you. And when everyone asks him like, how can you do that? He's like, I just train hard. No, that you don't just train hard and take 53 takedowns. So it's crazy.
No, but I'm with you. I think O'Malley gets it done, and you made a great point with Moraes cracking him, Cejudo cracking him, and they've shown it. It's the same motion. Body. I think it was either body then left, and it catches him.
Yup, and it catches him. And the thing is, he doesn't take the punch well. It's not like he's Cheeto where he's taking punches. Like I think if Merab fought the same way Cheeto did, and he would be out of there in the first round. Yeah. Because Cheeto is getting beat up, and I think Merab is he's underestimating how hard Sean hits. That's
a great point. I feel like people don't think he hits that hard, and he puts he's knocked almost everyone down.
Yeah, so I'm like, I think, and even Cheeto was like, I was like, how is he not putting him down? But he almost did.
Yeah, but I mean, it's going to be exciting. I'm pretty much agree on all of our predictions, and you know what? We'll see how Sean O'Malley does. But that's it for UFC Noche. It's kind of like, damn, that's it. No other fights. But I don't know. It's kind of funny that you have a fighter from Georgia who's now from New York and a fighter born in Montana now out of Arizona main eventing a Mexico-style card.
Yeah, you would think it would be a little different, but I think honestly it was more of the draw of the fighters who were available that made the UFC card come together. But I think they could have planned that far ahead and be like, call fighters up and be like, hey, can you be available for UFC Noche in 6 months? Like, can we not try and call fighters the month of or whatever they were doing that. Because Marab was saying they called him like 2 months ago, and I'm like, I would have been trying to figure out to stack it. So
I don't know. I guess we shouldn't complain. I suppose we should be grateful we're getting it.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
Exciting stuff. Well, Zeke, that's all we have for today. He's surprisingly gone. Almost 2 hours. Not too bad. I always ask this, what is one thing you want to leave with people, piece of advice, something to tell the world? Just get out there.
I feel like you gotta give everything a chance. I feel like especially when we're watching UFC, I feel like people get into MMA, people try new things, try new sports, and I feel like one thing that everyone can do is try something new. And when you find something you like and find something you have a passion for, pursue that. No matter what it pays, what it does, do something you love to do. Mm-hmm.
It's a great point. I had a kid on here not too long ago. He's down here, and he's practicing MMA, and his name's Jimmy, and he told me his goal is to become a world champion. Mm-hmm. Right now he just works and trains.
Yeah, I'm trying to go to the Olympics, which that's my the world champs is next year, so that's what I'm striving for, and so I got a season ahead of me. So that's what I'm hoping for. It's a big generation of a lot of people having far dreams.
Mm-hmm. And hey, we need a world of dreamers nowadays.
Yeah, hey, you have a podcast. It'd be great to see you as a Joe Rogan type of MMA podcast.
That'd be so awesome.
Oh, it would be so sick.
It'd be so fun. That's all anyone tells me. It's like, oh, you'd be a great host of something. Sure.
Every podcast is. That's the prime thing I do when I'm like getting out of the shower. I'm just like doing something where I did not focus on TV. I just listen. It's great. Love it.
Absolutely. Well, Zeke, you are without a doubt invited back anytime. You get the format. You know UFC. And hopefully next time we speak, it's with a absolutely stacked event. So
308, one of those other cards, it would be great.
It'd be amazing. Well, thanks for having us. And as always, guys, I'll catch you next time on The Surprise
Thank you so much.
Jab Podcast.